when I excelled, it was when I was using my strength. I will be explaining in this workshop the whole concept, the movement. It's been used all over the world. I hope I will entertain you. I would need you to grab a pen and paper for a later exercise. If you have any questions, please keep them till the end. But if in the meantime, when we're talking and you have a question, please do raise your hand. We will definitely allow you to unmute yourself and ask a question. I love what I do because I love to help people unleash their talents so they can be happier and more engaged and more basically happy with their life. I will tell you a brief history about Clifton Strength. It first started with Don Clifton. Don Clifton is the grandfather of positive psychology, and he is the father of strength psychology. After coming back from World War II, he decided to join in the psychological studies, and to his surprise, all they cared about was talking about what was wrong with people, and that's what they used to do prior than when he came in. And he didn't like the idea because he had a positive vision, and he believed that we are supposed to look at what is right in people instead of what is wrong with people. From here, I will show you a small video that will show you somehow what I'm talking about, and then from there we'll continue our presentation. Do enjoy the movie. Second, bear with me. Here you go.
What do you desire? What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like?
I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love. And that is as true for work as it is for your lovers.
So how do you find what you love? The key lies in understanding your uniqueness. You see, unless you value your uniqueness, you will never discover what you love. But this is not easy because we compare ourselves to those around us every chance we can get. This is pointless. I mean, which is better, an orange or an apple, a pencil or a pen, a doctor or a lawyer? I guess your answer will be, well, I suppose it depends. If I need to be able to erase what I draw, I'll use a pencil. If I want to keep what I write, I'll use a pen. Or I don't even like oranges, but I really like apples. As for lawyers. And so you'd be right with whatever you choose. The same is with who you are. If who you are is seen to be useful, then your uniqueness is pretty awesome. But if who you are is seldom appreciated or seen as useful, then maybe it's not so great. We cannot help but gain our value from the perception of others. But what if I could show you that your value is not determined by the opinion of others? What if I could show you that you determine your value, and that your value lies in who you really are, rather than who you are not? You see, the key lies in understanding the story each of your top 5 signature themes wants to tell you. And it's a powerful story that defines who you really are. Very simply, a signature theme is simply something you desire, really desire. It's a deep-seated yearning. It is the place where you feel the most alive, connected, timeless. It is where you find your real meaning. This desire creates a longing, and this longing creates an action towards which you desire. Best of all, you learn quickly because you are fully engaged and the outcome is important to you. Once that yearning is realized, a deep sense of fulfillment is experienced and you feel happy. And as you do it again and again and again, a strength is developed as knowledge and experience are added. In the places we don't get to follow our yearning, our companions become apathy and resentment. We feel stupid, frustrated, inadequate, and not very talented. Each signature theme represents a different yearning, and so we want different things at different times and in different ways. Some yearnings are met, some never so, which is why we appear really complex at times. But here's the great news. Blended together, this arrangement gives you your uniqueness and your potential value. It is your fingerprint. When you take the time to craft this uniqueness into something useful, you will suddenly become indispensable, priceless, talented. You see, we all have something to offer. You were born with this destiny. It is your right. Comparing yourself to others is therefore pointless. You see, the world has never seen the likes of you before. So what would you like to do with that? So take the time to discover who you really are. May you begin to appreciate this and the value that lies therein. Enjoy the journey. You matter.
So what do you think about this movie? Do you see yourself anywhere there? Basically, have you realized what you're good at? What are your talents? What are your superpowers? That's where our first poll will come in, and I'd like to ask you, do you know your superpowers? Please fill in whether you know or you don't know.
Guys, you can find the poll inside the team of the meeting. Just fill in your answer.
Are we done? What is the percentage? Okay, so according to the poll, 62% of you didn't know what you're good at. And that's actually painful for me to hear. And it's normal in our culture, because as we were brought up, our culture is always fixated on fixing us. For instance, when you were back in school, if you had any difficulty, they would not look at your good grades, they would look at your failing grade and want to work on that. And along the way, with self-comparison, other people telling you you're not good at this, you can do better, that made us lose somehow our identity. And that's how we lose knowing where are our talents in the first place. Our talents are our fingerprint. We are as unique as a fingerprint. They are our DNA. It's what comes out naturally. If you go back to when you were young, for instance, there are things you definitely enjoyed doing and you were never tired of doing them. These are signs of talents. There are things you do and people tell you, oh, wow, you're so good at it. And you think that everyone else is good at it. The chances of you finding someone like you are very, very rare. Talents is, in order for you to know what are talents, you take things, talents are your innate thing. It's what you're born with. No one else can have them. And according to Don Clifton, the more you invest in your talent, the stronger the talent will become. Talent is like a muscle. It's there, it's in you. But the more you invest in it, the more you put some effort in it, the stronger it will become. And when you invest in it the right way and you know what talent you have, it becomes a strength. And when it's a strength, that's when you excel. That's when you become the best version of you, because you know what you're good at, you know how to use them, and you start aiming them. You have the name, you have claimed them, and now you're aiming them. Okay? Now we're going to go to our second poll, and I'm going to ask you, now that you've listened to what are talents, I wanted to ask you, have you worked on fixing yourself often, like working on your weaknesses, comparing yourself with others? If you have, then please do answer the next poll. And after that, please make sure you have a pen and paper, because we'll have an activity. So please go and check for the poll and vote. Thank you. If anyone has a question, please do raise your hand and feel free to ask. Unmute yourself. Okay. Is it over? That's superpowers on the other poll. So, as I can see from the polls, can hear me? Yeah. I can see from the polls that most of us, sadly, work on our weaknesses. For us to understand the whole concept of using strengths versus weaknesses, I will move on to a writing exercise, an activity actually. Please grab a pen. Does everybody have a pen and paper? Please, from here, I would like you to use your dominant hand, the hand you always use. I want you to write your name 5 times. Okay, now please switch the pen to your non-dominant hand, and I'd like you to write your name 5 times. Okay. Now, I'd like to ask some of you to answer me. Please do join and answer me. Was it hard for you to write with your non-dominant hand? Please, if any of you would like to unmute themselves and answer me, would really appreciate it. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, it was hard writing our undominant hand.
With a non-dominant hand, it was hard. Was it easy with your dominant hand?
Yes, it was.
Do you think with your dominant hand you can excel better? Like you can go into calligraphy, you can do different fonts. Was it easy? How did it feel when you were writing with your dominant hand?
It was very smooth writing. Like, yes, in answering your question, yes, I could do calligraphy, probably enhance my abilities in writing.
Perfect. What about your non-dominant hand? How did it make you feel? Did it come easily?
It made me feel powerless. It's like I couldn't write a single letter.
That's a very strong word to use, powerless. And that's exactly how you feel when you're using your weaknesses instead of your strength. It doesn't come easy. It drains you. It makes you feel bad, and it makes you demotivated. And from this point, I hope it made it clear that if you invest in whatever you're good at, which is your dominant hand, you feel better, you want to do more of it, and you can definitely become the best version of yourself. Does it make it clear?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. Does anyone else want to share? Maybe somebody would dare me and say, no, I can actually fix my handwriting in my non-dominant hand.
Well, it's actually kind of true. Like, we can work on it, but it will need a lot of brain power and time to fix it.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. And that's where I will move on to my next slide, which will actually explain to you and will show you a study that was made back in the 1950s by Don Clifton, and which created Clifton Strength, which was adopted by Gallup. And it will make it clearer for you what exactly happened. And the study actually was done on sophomore students in the University of Nebraska. Okay, so let me tell you a bit about it. ما راح طول كثير بالحكي عليكم. Basically, Don Clifton مثل ما قلت لكم وقت اللي اجى he wanted to change the concept of thought of fixating on what is wrong and what is right. He asked his colleagues, for the sake of studies, to do a study. It's called the speed reading study. So basically, they brought in 6,000 students, and those 6,000 students were asked to take an assessment. From that assessment, some showed to read 90 words a minute, and others showed that they could read 350 words a minute. The people that could read 90 words a minute, they didn't really enjoy reading. That's why they could read so little a minute. But the people that read 350 words a minute actually enjoyed it. Okay? So they brought both teams together, and they gave them a course on a speed reading, so they could read faster, so they can become better in reading. So after finishing the course, they brought them back and did an assessment again to see who improved, who did not improve, so they could see the results. Okay, and to their surprise, people that used to read 90 words a minute started reading 150 words a minute. That is 66% improvement. That's actually good. That's actually really good. That probably proved Don Clifton wrong, because they thought that, look at them. Look at these students. They made it. 66% is not bad. But then when they went and checked the people that read 350 words, what do you think they got? There's a poll. Please, I'd like you to try and guess how many words the people that read good started reading after taking the course. Please go to the polls and answer. Thank you. So how are we doing? How are we guessing? Are we done? Okay. So mainly, most of you answered that 44% of you answered that they started reading 1,200 words a minute. Well, that's not bad of a guess. And did any of you answer they read less? Yes, some of you did. 25% of you thought that if they invested in their strength, they would actually drop. So, are you ready for the answer? Exactly. They started reading 2,900 words a minute. And that is what blew the psychologists' minds away. They could not believe what they could see because it was there. It was a study, and that's when Clifton Strength started, because Don Clifton was right. As much as we might invest in our weakness, we will have a higher percentage, which is 66%. But if we invest in our strength, it will be 828% more. So is it worth it investing in our weaknesses? Definitely not. But what I can tell you is, once you know your strength, you can manage your weaknesses, because sometimes it's very hard for us to forget about our weaknesses. But once we know what we're good at and we have regained our self-worth, that's when we move to controlling our weaknesses, but with our strength. Okay. The chances of you finding someone with your strength is as rare as a fingerprint. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. So far, 24.5 million people have taken Clifton Strength Assessment. ومن هيدا results بيقدروا يعرفوا إنه 1 in 278,000 people have their top 5 talents in just the same, like 1, 2, 3, in not an order. But the chances of you finding someone with the same talents, the top 5 talents from 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are 1 in 33 million. You know how rare it is? And I'd like to share with you that when I was doing my training, it happened to be that we had 2 people from different continents. One lady was from Turkey, another one from Canada, and they were twins. They actually had their top 5 exactly the same. So Gallup thought they would use them like guinea pigs. And then we wanted to see if they had anything in common, like anything. And I would tell you, they had nothing. Nothing at all. One was strict and hard, and the other one was easygoing. It had nothing to do. So this comes to say that your strength is how you use them. It's your uniqueness. No one else's. No one else can decide how you think or what you do or what you decide to do. Okay? Well, now we come to a study that was done last year on Lebanon by Gallup. Sadly, Gallup discovered, يعني ما أنا surprised لألنا كلنا سوا, إنه Lebanon has been named as the saddest people on the planet. And that was last year, let alone this year. Everything dropped. Like if you can see, happiness dropped and everything negative went up. Worry doubled, sadness doubled, anger doubled, stress doubled, everything doubled. And akid, none of us didn't feel it. And that's where I come in to tell you that it's not the end of the world. We can work on ourselves. كل واحد منا مسؤول عن حاله. We have to work on ourselves to lift our spirits up. And through strength, it's the best way to feel better. Once you regain your strength, that's when you will feel better. And to prove that, I'm going to tell you what actually Gallup did in 2015. They were doing polls in the States, in America, and they found out that Rhode Island was number 50 disengaged in the States. Like they were the worst of the worst. It was an embarrassment. Like nobody loved going to work, nobody was motivated, nobody was happy, nobody trusted anyone. So Gallup decided with their أكيد المسؤولين عندهم that they would implement the strength movement in the state. So what they did, it's not a big state, it's 1 million people. So they decided to take 10,000 people, just 1% of them. بس اللي أهم شيء يعني البوليس, كل المسؤولين, الجامعات, الأساتذة, يعني الشرك الكبيرة أخذون and they introduced them to their strength. And to their surprise, after 2 years, they went up from 50 bottom to 15. They became engaged because they were working with their strength. Okay? And then not only did they go up 15% when at work, when they started going to work before in 2016, they were number 49 when they started using their work, which means not only they know their strength, their managers know their strengths, their teachers knew their strength, their family knew their strength. They went up to number 1. ليش حبيت أعطيكم هذا الإكزامبل؟ لأنه أنا بعرف ليش كلنا هلأ محبطين. But if we know our strength, right now, that is the best tool we can actually use to lift our spirits from being so down, so demotivated, so confused, to being the best version of ourselves. Okay? Is that clear? Anybody has any questions? Lebanon falls in the, if you can see here, in the Middle East and North Africa. And it shows that نحن من الناس most disengaged people, actively disengaged. We're definitely not engaged. وهيدا البول معمول قبل الكوفيد. يعني بأمريكا it dropped, people that were engaged dropped to 16. So imagine بلبنان داش مع الريفولوشن ومع الوضع الاقتصادي ومع كل هيدا داش قشطت. So that is why it's extremely important that we know what we're good at. هلا Gallup divides us into 4 domains. We are either executing, وبدي اياكم تسمعون منيح لانه بحب بعد ما اخلص فسرهم اكيد في بول، بس بحب كمان يكون عندي انبوت منكم تقولوا لي، بدي اياكم هيك تخبروني شوي وين شفتوا حالكم وليش شفتوا حالكم هونيك. اوكي، اول بارت هن we are divided into 4 domains. For instance, I am relational, my husband is influencing, my son is strategic thinking. So usually in a team, in a family, at work, we're not supposed to all be in one domain. We're supposed to have different domains, and we're supposed to complement, not compete. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first theme. It's executing, the first domain. Those are the people that know how to make things happen. يعني انتو you do things. You are the achievers. You are the people that watch out for problems. You are the people that are responsible. You are disciplined. انتو بهمكن الشغلة تنعمل بوقتها، ما في تضييع وقت. These are executors. Okay? The second domain is influencing. Influencing are the people that usually take in charge. هول الناس بيناتكم اللي بالعاده بالصف بيحكوا. They speak up. They say their word. They want to be heard because هن القصه كلها، هن الواجهه، هن الناس. most probably يمكن انتم تكونوا ما بتحبوا بس عندكم a friend اللي بيكون هيك. يمكن انتم هيك بس you've been criticized. كل هول this is influencing. Are you an influencer? That's number 2. Number 3 are the relationship domains. The relationship domains is me. We are the glue. We are the people that take care of people. We feel, we connect, we include, we relate with people. We bring the best out of bringing people together. We are the people that care. We might sometimes be criticized as being too caring. This is a relationship. You are then a relationship domain. Last but not least is the strategic thinking domain. These are the people that think. هولي ما كتير بيحكوا بس هولي بيحللوا. They analyze. If it wasn't for them, they are the learners, the intellects. They create ideas. They are all here. They're more thinkers than talkers and carers and executors. So which one do you see yourself in? Please go to the poll and vote. And please, once you vote and I see the results, I would like at least 5 of you to share why do you think you belong to such a domain. I would love to hear it. Okay? Thank you. Okay, so how far are we with the poll? Have we voted? Okay, so now we have the results, they're out. So 25% are executing, 14% are influencing, 21% are relational, and 38% are strategic thinkers. Okay, so I'd like one person that has voted for executing to raise their hands up and unmute themselves, please, and share why do they think they're executing. Anyone? Hi, Reem.
Hello.
Hi, Reem. So you believe you're an executor?
Yes, I think I'm a planner and I can't sleep before work is done.
Oh, wow. You can't sleep if work is done. I can hear an achiever here. And sometimes do you exhaust yourself by overworking?
Yes, all the time. And
All
it's
the time.
bad, but I can't, yeah, I can't
You can't
stop.
control it?
Yes. But I think I'm more of, yeah, I'm mix of executing and strategic. It was hard first to pick.
Yes, of course. I wanted to say that we lead in one, but we have a dynamic of many. Like you can see with my, I lead with relational, but I am strategic and executing too. Okay, so each one has a different way of thinking. So you lead in executing, and I seem to hear you struggling with being too much executing. So
yes,
how does it feel with your friends? Do they criticize you?
they always tell me to not panic because I always seem to panic when things aren't planned or not organized. Yeah, I want stuff to be done.
You want that
So
to be done over with. But have you ever failed yourself?
many times.
You have?
Yes, yeah. You know, sometimes the grades or the result aren't satisfying, but I always work on myself. I never stop.
You work on yourself. You believe you can always do better.
Yes, I think sometimes I'm not satisfied. I'm not fully satisfied of my work.
Yeah, because this is typical executing, because executing will always think they're not good enough. They will always think there's something they can fix better. They always think they can control it. But that's where you need to learn about your talents and know how to control them. Because if you're not feeling good, it means you're using them in a raw version. It means you're not using them the right way. Therefore, they're not productive. As you said, sometimes you're not getting good grades because you're not using your talent the right way. You're using it in a raw version, not the right, correct, positive way of using your talent. Does it make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Perfect. So that's why it would be nice for you to know what you're good at. Like this, you will have the tools to know how to fix and arrange and هيك تنزلي شوي عن ظهرك when it's overloaded.
Yes.
Okay?
True.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, who's going to share their influencing thoughts? Do not shy out. I know influencer likes to communicate. Raise your hand. Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Hi, Melissa. I can hear it in your voice.
Yes, that's true. I never stop talking. I like to express what's on my mind.
That's amazing. You know, every talent looks nice sometimes and sometimes doesn't look nice. Like, it's good to communicate, but are we over talking? Sometimes this is what people are telling you, Melissa.
Yeah, sometimes they say I shouldn't be saying things, like it's not the appropriate time to say it, but for me it's normal. I'm being honest and
And here we go. That's another part of probably you. You're the type of person that speaks out before thinking and then regret it.
I don't usually regret it, but yes, I usually speak and then I speak and then I think about what I said. But usually I like to speak. I like my opinion to be heard, you know.
Like your opinion to be heard. But what if I told you, if you work on your opinion before sharing it and knowing who your audience is, you would influence them better?
Yes, that's
For
true.
instance, if you're telling someone something and they're not interested with it, they're not going to listen to you. A good influencer needs to know his public. And that's where we fall sometimes. We talk and we want to share things as influencers, but we really don't pay attention if they're really interested in what we're saying, or if we're saying is actually meaningful to whom we're telling.
Yes, 100%.
That's why if you discover your talents and you practice and you go back to previous events and see where it has worked and where it hasn't, you would realize that the times where you have reflected on it, or you have gotten the right information, or you know the people you're talking to, your communication is more successful. Correct?
100%.
Perfect. So we agree on it. That's an influence.
Yes, definitely.
Stay in your domain, enjoy it. Please, let's get in touch. Let's get to know it and evolve it, because we need each single voice of influencers in this country. We need you. We need executors. We need relational people. We need you. You don't need to be just saying, that's okay, I can manage, other people can do it. No, you can make a change, and only you can do that change. Okay?
You can count on me.
Okay, I bet. Okay, so thank you, Melissa. Now I'm going to take someone in the relationship domain who's going to raise their hands and share. Don't be shy. I know people with relationship talents might be shying off. Please don't. You will make me feel bad. Remember, I'm relational. Hey, Noor.
Hi.
Hi, Noor. So, Noor, tell me about you. Where did you see yourself in your relationship talents?
Well, it's mostly because I love helping people and I always see the best in everyone around me, and I help them become their better self. And all my friends tell me that I'm really an empath and I really help them and I really motivate them to do stuff and be happier and do better for themselves.
That's amazing. I can hear. I might be wrong, but from what you shared, it looks like you have a talent called individualization, which means you see the uniqueness in every person. And not only do you see, you feel with them, and therefore you see what they need and you give it to them. And that's when they excel. Imagine if there were no people with relationship talents on this planet. How would it feel? How would it feel?
It would be lonely.
And how do you feel when people are executors and all they care about is work, 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 and they don't care about the emotions?
Their life is mostly dull. No feelings means no life.
That's you. But for them, no work is no life. You see how it is?
Yes, that's true.
And people with relationship talents need people with executing and influencing and strategic to push them, because if they stay in their emotions, they can't do much about it.
Yes, that's true.
But I'd like also to share with you that Gallup has been pushing now managers after COVID-19 to invest in people with relational talents, because it has been shown that if you don't care about your employees, your students, your family, they will be demotivated, especially in these moments of difficulties. Therefore, I encourage you to invest in your relational themes, and please use them more often because the world needs you. And especially Lebanon and your friends, don't forget them.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, is that okay? Do you have any question?
No, not really. Just that I mostly felt like I belong in relationship thing, but I also like to influence people and other stuff. But
Definitely.
yeah, it's like
Because
a bit
as
of
I said before, we don't work with one domain. We have different domains. For instance, I have 3 domains in my top 5. You know, so most probably yes, you do care about people, but you also want to influence them. So you probably have an influencing theme. And the best part is when, for instance, you don't lean on one. So if you're leaning too much on your relationship, you might miss out on doing your project. You might miss out on influencing others, you know. So it has to be a dynamic, a balance between all your talents. Okay. So now are we okay? Now we move to the strategic thinking. You thinkers inside your cocoons, who's in? Who's going to share his experience and thoughts? Come out wherever you are. Usually people with strategic thinking do like to keep things to themselves, but please, who's in? Anyone? Strategic thinkers, you're many. Raise your hand. No one? No one wants to talk? Strategic thinkers, we're good? Okay, I understand. No hard feelings. Okay, now we come back to the talents that Gallup have grouped from Lebanon. We lead in achiever. Achievers are people that need to do things and finish them. We lead also with responsibility. These are people that care about values. We are high learners. That's why we go for PhDs and masters, and the more we know, the better we are. And relators, of course, we are carers. We need to know the person we're talking to. We don't just take a mar at-tariq. We value friendship, we value family. And of course, we have restorative. Restorative is a talent that I have in my top 5. And restorative are the fixers. And this is where I hope many of you have this talent, because also it's needed, because you're the one that can fix things if things are wrong. Okay? I will show you, for instance, I will be choosing to talk about achiever. Achiever, since it's the #1 in the world and the #1 in Lebanon, I want to show you how it looks for a person with achiever. They are dedicated to work, they are energetic, they need freedom, they value things done, everything is organized, and they dislike people بيتلاشوا, يعني vigilance. They hate it. So basically, every talent has a balcony and a basement. as you mentioned in your sharing, a lot of you shared a lot of basement. That's where we don't feel well, where we're not productive. But that's why when we do the assessment, we can actually learn how to bring ourselves from the basement up to that beautiful balcony and be in control of ourselves and our lives. Okay? So the more you live on your balcony, the better you contribute to yourself and to others. And remember, your strengths are not just for you. It's not just something to be selfish about and claim. We are meant to help one another. Whatever you have, maybe your sister or your brother or your colleague or your friend doesn't have. You need to help them with it. And in return, whatever you're weak at, you borrow from them. That's how it is. That's how human nature is supposed to be. Okay? So if you stay in the basement, that's when, for instance, you're burning out, you don't feel well, you feel demotivated. If that's how you're feeling, that's probably you're either using your talent in a raw way or you're simply leaning on a talent that's not yours. Okay? So basically, that's achiever when in a good vision. They feel tireless. They lead by example. Others see them as the hard workers who love to be busy, so that's achiever, and that's an example. We have 34 talents. 34 talents. When you do the assessment, you get your top 5, but there are 34. Okay? So the more you invest in your talent, the more you invest in your strength, the better you look forward to going to school. You say school, yes, because in the States and in Canada and in Europe, Clifton Strength has been used in schools, universities, companies, everywhere, because they have discovered that everybody like yesterday, I was on a call in California with students of a school in San Diego, and they were 14 years old and they knew their strength already, and they actually work on their strength from the age of 12. Even universities, very well-known universities like Nebraska University, Toronto, Texas University, Washington State universities, and much more, use strength, because when you go into university and you know what you're good at, ما بتضيعوا وقت. يعني ياما ايام بتضيعوا وقت بتروحوا سنة أو سنتين, you're not enjoying, and then you shift and you shift. Even sometimes you choose not to shift because you think that's the best you can do. That is why they have invested in it, and they have discovered, and what الواحد بيفوت بيعرف what he's good at, it's easier for him to perform, it's easier for him to achieve his goal. Okay? So the more you invest in your strength, the more you feel positive, the lesser you feel negative. And your workers, when you're dealing with your friends and your workers, it feels better لأنه أنتم مرتاحين مع حالكم أكتر. Okay, different than you not مش طايقين حالكم. Why do I feel this way? Why don't people like me? Once you start liking yourself and you show people who you really are, because you have the language for it, بتصير أحيانا تفسروا لأصحابكم. For instance, if you are strategic thinkers and you wish not to talk a lot, and you tell your friends, I'd rather have some time off and then I'll get back to you, they won't see you as a snob. They will see you as someone, they would respect your time alone, and then they'll give you the chance to come back whenever you want. Okay? And especially once you feel good, you treat others better. Do we agree on that? We definitely agree on that. But then once you are working with your talents, and the people that you are working with, or or you are friends with, they know هن كمان what they're good. ما بقى في كتير clash. يعني بتصيروا تفهموا على بعضكم. انا هيك لاني هيك، وانا هيك لاني هيك. انا فيني ساعدك هون، انت فيك تساعدني هون. please don't mind me when I'm like this, because this is how I process, because each one has a lens. كل واحد منا sees the whole world from their own lens, from their own talents. So انتوا بتعتقدوا كل العالم بيفكروا مثلكم. That's where we fall in the mistake. ما في حدا مثلكم. You are unique, okay? And you are special, and you deserve to regain that confidence and power so you can do more, okay? And once you are in your strength zone, you achieve better. خلاص ما بقى في شيء يعني صرتوا بتعرفوا what you're not good at. You can borrow from your friends, from your family. They can help you here. And then instead of wasting time in something you're not good at, you put your energy in the right place. And then, of course, you become more productive, more creative, and more positive. Doesn't it feel good to feel happy? Everyone deserves to be happy. It breaks my heart to know, well, I wasn't far enough. Anna, come in at your age, I was lost. I changed major 3 times because I was confused, and I didn't know where I wanted to be. I didn't know what I belonged, because I wanted to please my parents. I wanted to please my friends. It was all about others. But as I grew older, sadly, it took me a while, I discovered that I need to work on myself. That's why the sooner you work on yourself, and life will become easier for you, and your target is achieved faster. Okay? So the more you work on your strength, your life becomes 3 times better. That's scientifically proven. These are polls. We're not playing around. It's facts. Okay? And the more you know your strength, when you go at work or at school or at university, you are 6 times more engaged. لأنه أنتوا صرتوا بتعرفوا أنتوا وين محلكم. Why you act the way you are, why you react the way you are. All that makes sense. You don't need to just be confused. Okay? So strength impact على individual's performance, once you start using them, you become 38% more higher performance, higher productivity 43%, and 83% as a team if the whole team knows their strength. For instance, انتوا كجروب بالجامعه اذا كلكم سوا بتحكوا مع بعضكم وكل واحد بيقول للثاني انا ليكم ما تخلوني احكي، انا ما كثير بحكي، انا بحلل لكم I will analyze this thing, and then someone else will talk about it, and the other one will make sure everybody feels well. You know, it feels better. The dynamic بيصير يشتغل احسن ما واحد executor يجي يقول لكم لا 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 خلص عادوا على جنب انا بعملها كلها. No, each one has to do what they like doing best. Okay? I think I've spoken enough. I hope I didn't bore you. I will move on to an exercise. I want you to raise a hand, raise a hand if you believe you see yourself. And these are little hints for you to think of, maybe that is my talent. Okay? Are you a person that talks to people in the elevator, airplanes, stores, wherever you go, you just need to talk to people? Raise your hand. People with woo, people with communication, people with command, all these people, they need to talk, they need to reach out. They can't. It's too boring for them if they don't communicate. Are you one of them? Raise your hand. Hello, where is everyone? Wake up. Okay, I will move to the next slide. Aha, so we do have influencers. There's someone undecisive. Yes, no, next, no, no, yes, yes. Okay, then, are you a control freak? Like everything needs to be organized in certain patterns, colors, if there's إذا بتفوتوا على أوضة فيها عجقة بتكرزوا. We have so many arrangers, executors. Things need to be right. I hear you. Okay. Are you a person that writes down every day before they wake up? If not, write down in their head. بس فتحوا عيونكم بتقولوا لازم أعمل هيك وهيك 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 وهيك، وكمان ما في ريحة حتى بالويك اند لازم أعمل هيك وهيك وهيك وهيك. Achievers, you see, we are so many in Lebanon. Go ahead, do not give up, our achievers. Yoo-hoo! You go into a movie وبيكونوا أصحابكم بعدهم عايشين إنه شو بده يصير وهيك، وأنتم من أول 5 دقايق بتعرفوا شو الاندنج تبع الموفي. strategic, you see it straight away. See? انتوا اللي ما فتوا وحكيتوا. I need you to speak later on. Do you ask many questions and people say, oh my God, what do you, شو بتسأل أسئلة هالبنت أو هالشاب؟ What do you mean? You're always curious. People with ideation, people with positivity, people with activator, all these are people that just want to know more. Like, I have input, I simply want to know more. I bore people with asking how many. Next, are you always accused of being too nice, too naive? يا عمي انت شو معترة؟ خلاص بقى شديلي حالك، مش دايما تضحكي، في ايام لازم نزعل. But no, I am a positive person and we need that energy. That's me also, I have positivity. Are you accused of being not nice enough? Like the grumpy one? Like, listen guys, let's do this when somebody wants to have fun? Oh yeah. How does it feel when people tell you you're not nice? It doesn't feel good. Because when people say you're not nice or you're too nice, they're seeing your talent in a raw version. You need to work on it, okay? Tend to be skeptical until given some proof. Like, if you don't give me proof that Clifton Strength can change my life, let me not listen to what this woman is talking. That's why I gave you some proof. I gave you a lot of proof. Did I or did I not? I did. See, I can see strategic thinkers. Okay, and here we go. You trust your intuition. Sometimes, whatever the deal is, there's something inside of you. You can't explain it. It's not something you can say in words. Those are the feelers. You need to follow your intuition, but sometimes you need to balance it. Okay, every talent has a raw and mature version. Have you ever gone into an elevator and pressed it like many times? Activators, you're always on the run. No time to lose. Well, I don't belong there. I'm an easy-going, harmonious person. But I respect that, because if it wasn't for you, people like me won't be doing anything. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. هلا رح أحكيكم عن الأسسمنت. The assessment that Gallup, with coordination with Don Clifton, did. It's called Clifton Strength. مثل ما قلت لكم صرتوا سامعين اسمه. Once you do the assessment online, you get a report. A report will give you your top 5. As you can see, I have harmony, connectedness, positivity, restorative, input. And then it shows also on the side that as I told you, I lead in the blue color, which is relational. And then afterwards, I lean in strategic and then executing. Least I lead with is influencing. And to everybody's surprise, sometimes they tell me, really influencing, and you present yourself so well and all that. It's because I've learned to control my weaknesses, my fear of the public, my fear of this, with my strength. Understood? So whatever weakness you have, don't let it control you. Find out what are your strengths with the assessment, and then use those strengths to get out of your weaknesses. Okay? So once you do the assessment, it doesn't mean that if I have, for instance, harmony, and someone else has his harmony, like I have connectedness 1, and someone else has connectedness 1, it means they use it the same way as I do. No, it depends on, as I told you before, on your dynamic, the whole talents, how they range from 1 to 34, and then also your culture plays a role, your DNA, what you've inherited from your family, the culture, all that plays a role. Okay? Once you discover your top 5, you have been working, you will discover where you have, the report will actually give you where you were working in the wrong areas. Like it will be visible, you will have it in front of you. It's really extraordinary. قد ما أحكي عنه الأسسمنت مش قليل لأنه it has been proven by just you reading your report, 4% you feel better. Just reading it. بعدين أكيد when you work on it with your coach and you start practicing in daily life, it makes the big difference. بعدين the result will also give you, if you're missing out on your excellence. As I told you, as at the beginning of the workshop, I asked you whether you knew your talents, and most of you said no. And I'd like to tell you that the people in the reading exercise that turned out to be good readers, only 10% of them actually knew they were good at reading. We usually take ourselves for granted. We always think we can do better. We always think our neighbor or our friend or our brother is better than us. They are better with what they do, but we have things no one else can do them the way we do. And this is what I want you to always remember. So in order for you to do this assessment, you have to go online. You have to purchase a code. Okay, the code in general, if you go on Clifton Strength, it costs $20. Yes, Gallup uses dollars, not Lebanese. And I know that none of you, most of you, don't have cards that can be used. Therefore, if you wish to purchase the code, please reach out to me, because I, as a coach, can get the code for $10 instead of $20. Okay, and if I know with all the economical crisis, even the $10 might be hard, we can look into other options. There are something similar to Clifton Strength that can be done for free online, and then we can work on them and do some exercise. Okay, I would like to tell you that if you follow me on Coach Gilda, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook, and you tag 3 of your friends, please write it down. If you follow me on Coach Gilda and tag a friend on my latest post, which is the one of the workshop, you will enter a draw, and I will do it live. No cheating, no preferences, no wastat here. You will see it live. I'm going to give away 3 codes for free. Okay? So if you're interested in getting a code, please follow me and tag 3 friends. Are we good? Okay. And now comes the end of our conversation, of my workshop. I hope you enjoyed it. We're open for questions. If you have any questions, please, now is the time to unmute yourself and ask whatever wasn't clear, whatever you want to know more about. I'm here. And that's my, if you want to follow me, I'm Coach Gilda on Facebook and Instagram. That's my number. Please do reach out on WhatsApp. I'm available at all times. And for attending this workshop, I'll be giving away a certificate of participation. If you wish to have the certificate, please contact your organizer and I'll send it in by email. Would love to do it because you deserve it. And let's go back to our Q&A. Anybody would like to talk? Ask a question? We're open. We have 15 minutes. Hi, Ellie. Hello. Can you hear me? Ellie?
Sorry, I forgot to mute.
How are you, Ellie?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Yes, it was excellent, but I have one little question.
Go ahead.
I feel like we shouldn't really neglect all of our weaknesses. I feel like there's something in essential abilities that everyone should invest in to reach a certain minimum, and then maybe really invest in our strength, but to keep like a generalized skills and everything. Not everything, I mean.
Okay. Did you vote as a, do you see yourself as a strategic thinker, Ellie?
Yes, somehow.
Yes, because that sounds typical strategic. Ellie, as I showed you in the experiment, you can, and we should not ignore our weaknesses. You are totally right. But we should not waste our time in investing in them. We can learn through our strength because this is where we can improve better. We can learn to manage our weaknesses with our strength. That's the best thing to do. I'm not saying you should just say, I'm weak at that, khalas. No, I'm weak at that, but if it's affecting me of becoming a better version of me, then that's when I should see how to work with my strength to elevate those weaknesses. Yani, for instance, let me tell you, Anna, my weakest talent is maximizer, okay? When I received my assessment and I discovered that I had maximizer, I was a bit offended because I thought I was a perfectionist. Eventually, I discovered, and Anna, when I go into perfecting things, I'm always exhausted. It doesn't make me feel good. But on the other hand, Anna, insane, I have high responsibility as a talent. So it's more about me doing things right than making them look good. Okay? So I started focusing on doing things right instead of looking at making things look better. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you. And what did you do for the perfection part?
I am still a perfectionist, but I'm not a perfectionist because I want to look good and because I want people to see me shining, because I believe in the value of doing things right. Now I know that it's a core value for me. That أنا for me it matters أنا أعمل يعني أنا ما بقدر أعطيكم for instance معلومات ماني واثقة فيها. This is out of the question because it's against my values. I've discovered that I seek perfection through values because I care about my own values. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. It's from a different lens. عرفت كيف? For instance, Anna, I know that I am weak in strategic. Funny enough, I am extremely weak in strategic, or I do claim it. But I'm lucky that my husband has it high and my son has it high. So whenever I've done everything, I can't make a decision. It's so hard for me to make a decision. I go to my husband or to my son, whichever I can go to, and I tell them I have this, help me. What should I do? For them, it takes a second. Straight away, they would, because I present them with everything, for them, they would say, oh, this is the best route for you. And I feel better أحسن ما أكسر راسي لوحدي, because it doesn't come natural for me. I've learned to ask people that are good in my weaknesses to help me. That's how it is. And that's how it's supposed to be, because we're meant to relate. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else?
Also, guys, please check in the chat. I sent you the feedback form. Let us know what you thought about the event and about the session. Thank you.
So anyone else wants to ask a question?
Okay, I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
I felt like I'm at the same time strategic thinker, and I'm all of the above, actually, all of them.
Yes.
So, and executing also, and influencer.
Yes, because you might be one, for all we know, you might have one influencing, two strategic, one relational. Yeah, we are a mixture of everything, but you mainly lean on one.
It's actually hard to choose one because I'm equal at all, sort of.
That is why the assessment, or if not the assessment, if we sit together and we talk, it will be easier once I see what you enjoy most. You know, in order for you to know your talents is where you enjoy yourself more. Where do you go? Time passes وما بتحسي. Where you want to do more of it. This is talent. You can be good in many things, but there are places where there's no time limit. That's talent. That's when you know it's a talent.
Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else wants to ask a question? Hello? Okay, if we're done, I would like to share one last video with you, and then I will end my session, if that's okay with everyone, unless someone else wants to ask a question. Okay. Thank you very much for allowing me to join you today. I hope I was of help. Please do reach out. I'm here at any time. Remember, believe in yourself. You are unique. You deserve to be happy. And let's work on your strength together. Enjoy the movie.
It's transformed my career, my marriage, my family, my personal relationships. I had a great career prior to being introduced to strengths, but strengths, again, took that to the next level.
Man, that's a great question.
Wow, it's a good question.
And that's a heavy one. Ooh, that's a big one. So do you want me to go there, or do you okay?
Strengths changed my life in just helping me get crystal clear about who I am. I think for a lot of my life, I was trying to mold myself as a leader based on external expectations of who I thought I wanted to be.
And that, to me, is what a strengths-based approach can do, is it can take something that somebody may have their entire life been resisting or fighting, and instead empower them to use it in a way that really achieves what they're trying to achieve.
And so learning about my strengths freed me from those expectations so I could lean into who I am naturally, and it changed my performance. It changed my energy and passion. It made me excited to come to work every day. because I could lean into those things that really just come naturally and authentically to me.
I am far more engaged in my role. I'm excited. I would say I exhibit what's called flow, which is this timelessness in my job. It's easy for me to work a 60-hour week and not even know it, because I enjoy what I do so much. And that's the big difference. When you're living in your natural talents and strengths, work doesn't feel like work. It's you living your passion out in what you do every single day.
Strengths has changed my life because I am not the type of smart that is conventionally celebrated. It took a coach to tell me that I'm what's called relationally smart. And for a long time, I tried to fit into the conventional molds of society. You know, I started off as a stockbroker for about 8 years, and I definitely wasn't necessarily in a role that was suited to my talents. But for so long, I wanted to be something that wasn't necessarily a good fit for me. I spent 20 years being very aware of all the things that I am not, and I invested time and effort and energy into changing those things and yielded little results. So when strengths came along, it was a complete mind shift. It was, we're going to focus on what's amazing about you, and the success I've had from that in the last 2 years has been amazing. It has trumped my last 20.
I really appreciate people feeling like they're seen and valued and heard. Strengths has helped me feel that way, but I think where it's really been life-changing for me is when I can sit down with somebody and they start to apologize for the things that they're not good at, and I say, you have value. You bring this to our organization. You do this every day, and that's amazing. And when I can have that type of conversation and watch somebody just pause and sometimes break down in tears and say thank you for seeing and hearing me, to me, that's really powerful stuff.
So I can tell you it makes a huge difference in your performance, in your well-being, your relationships inside of work, and then your home relationships as well, those personal relationships, family, all of that. It makes everything better when you can be living in your strengths.
I'm using my strengths every single day. So I think for me, the life-changing thing has been discovering that my natural self is awesome, and being my natural self actually achieves that excellence and that success that I had always hoped for in my life.
Okay. Hope you're all good. Thank you for allowing me to go on your platform. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice evening, and looking forward to getting to know you. And once you do your assessment, I would like to tell you that there is, once you do the assessment, I am willing to work as groups with you online, and it's pro bono, no expenses. I would love to work with you and make you a better version of yourself. Thank you, and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, really, it was helpful.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing
awesome
workshop.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. My pleasure.